Hi, everybody. This is the Photography Podcast, and today's thing is photography dying, or is being a hybrid shooter the new new? Do you think photography is dying, Jon Paul Kersey?
Well, yeah, I kind of do think photography is dying because,
Yeah?
everyone's going out, getting their phones. Everybody is taking photos with their phones. They're taking videos with their phones. There's
Yeah.
several
that
things
too.
like there's the DJI has drones. We have like GoPros. We have Insta 360s and all sorts of things that you can take pictures with, and you can kind of like select the picture. Even with your iPhone, you can do a little video and pick the best picture. And
agree.
cameras are kind of becoming a more niche and more niche market where it's almost like it's geared towards basically geared towards the professional.
Totally.
And then, yeah, so I think, the mobile phone is kind of taking over the photography market pretty much in a basic standstill. And I think the mobile phone is pretty much going to be the future of photography.
Is photography worth all the hype, though, Jon Paul?
Yeah, I'd say photography, to me, it is worth all the hype because with basically with photography, you get the ability to shoot in RAW. You get the dynamic range of the colors and the contrast and the sharpness and the clarity, and you get all of that stuff. And photography can capture, the moment of the essence. It can do all that. Whether you're using
I
a
agree. I
phone,
totally agree
whether
with
you're
that.
using basically an actual DSLR or a mirrorless camera, you always have something that is gonna capture the moment of the essence. But in my honest engine opinion, I honestly believe that to me, getting a DSLR is worth the hype. But the difference between a phone and a DSLR is things like dynamic range. The sensor is way bigger on a mirrorless camera. If you go full frame or APS-C, you have
Yeah, I agree.
more
APS-C.
abilities for dynamic range. And basically, dynamic range is the ability to push the shadows and the blacks and the colors
Yeah.
and stuff, and really manipulate the picture. So to me, photography is worth the hype. But to the general person, I would say majority of people just go on social media and they take a picture with their phone, put their picture on social media, they get a bunch of likes, and then after those likes, then it's kind of the end of the picture. And it has the longevity of a picture is a lot shorter than, let's say, an Ansel Adams times when he took a picture
100%.
and it was viewed in galleries and it was massive and people really sought off that as fine art. And there still is fine art, and when I go on Instagram and scroll, I still see beautiful pictures. I like it, and then that's the last I ever see of the picture. It's not something that I admire for eons and eons. There's still people that will print pictures and all that stuff, but to me, I think it's worth the hype, but I think the hype is slowly dying down over the last decade.
Why is video the new new, though? That's what I want to know.
To me, the video would be considered the new because with video you can capture the essence of movement. You can capture the essence of the time of the 3D realm. You can capture the ability to basically do all sorts of stuff that you can't really do in photography. Photography is like a 2D image. It's preserving that one particular moment, and you can do a lot of really interesting things to manipulate the picture, and people put it into Photoshop and all that stuff. And photography is still a real beneficial thing, but video is more, you can capture the moment, and you can capture the essence of that whole time period, where like how a deaf person can still see everything in the video and see it and correlate that's everything that's going on in the video, and then a blind person can still listen to the video, and they can kind of get the ability to feel stuff. The video brings in feeling.
Sure.
Some people even get smells out of video if you capture the essence of a subject properly. you can even kind of be like, oh my God, I remember what that smells like. And it brings back a more
Cotton
of a
candy.
vivid time lapse
Every
of
time I see
that
it.
piece of moment, of that content. And it captures the essence of that. So with things like hybrid shooters, you got like a hybrid shooter that will basically is a photographer and a videographer. And then with a photographer and videographer, you got people that will go to a wedding. And if they're just a photographer, then they have to hire a videographer to take the pictures. But
Yeah.
if they're basically a videographer and a photographer, then they can do more to capture the essence of the moment instead of just taking stills.
Totally.
You can
Totally.
capture video as well, and your ability to make more money is a bigger bang for the buck, and you can do that quite a bit. Being a hybrid shooter is more the future than just being into one like video or just being into photography, because when you're into photography, then you kind of get the ability to understand video a lot more. And when you're just into video, you kind of need to understand photography to get the framing and all sorts of things that come into play with the constructs of photography to be able to be a good videographer. So I feel that they both come in hand,
points.
and being a hybrid shooter is definitely the future. But videography is very important, and it's becoming more and more rapidly. Like, you're not seeing newer and newer cameras coming out. You're seeing the mirrorless, and that's a big wave that's going to be hyped up for the next decade probably. But when it comes to the video, you're seeing more and more mirrorless being able to capture video, and they're gearing it more towards hybrid shooters, so that's kind of more of an important thing. But also with photography, you have people that are taking pictures and that have like a Rebel T6, and then with the Rebel T6, they will go out and charge all this money for they'll charge like $20 to give 25 photos, but then you got a professional photographer that is trying to make a living and making it his career that charges like $300 for like 10 photos. And then they're like, well, the customer's like, well, why can't I get 25 photos when this person's only charging me $20? It's kind of hard to validate the schematics of a professional career when you got someone with like just a basic cheap, $500 camera and a kit lens that costs probably $100, and then you got someone that has a camera that basically is anywhere between $2,000 to $5,000 just for the body alone of the camera, and then you got lenses that are $2,000-$3,000 a piece. And then that validates them charging that $300 because their ability for dynamic range, to manipulate the picture, their ability to do everything, and their knowledge is what you're paying for. But to the average person, they think, well, I can get a good picture out of my cell phone, or I can get a good picture out of my just hiring a $20 photographer for, the average client doesn't know what a good camera and a good lens does. They see a picture and they expect these beautiful results, and you can get okay results with a T6, but with like a EOS R or a 5D Mark III or a 5D Mark IV, even a 5D Mark II, you can get quite outstanding results with a dynamic range, and it's like they're breathtaking results. Even a 6D or a 6D Mark II, for Canon, because I'm a Canon shooter, I'm just using those as examples that you can basically get good results. So
I agree.
and basically how that goes into video, I would say that video, if you're a videographer and a photographer, you can basically play your smarts to photography, and then you can play your smarts to videography, and then it makes you more of a better business person because you offer way more in the attributes of success.
Agreed. Well, everybody, that's today's podcast. Is the hybrid shooter the future? I'm really thinking so, sweeties. So let me know what you think, and thanks, Jon Paul, for having us.